Do, 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 do. We are live in 5, 4, 3, 3, 2, 1. Yeah.
GarageBand Weekly, GarageBand Weekly,
We are live in 5, 4, 3, 3, 2, 1. Yeah. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome, and I hope you are doing well on this wonderful Monday, Tuesday. I don't know. Days are just a meaningless premise, aren't they? This is GarageBand Weekly here on Studio Live today. My name is Pete Johns, and if it's your first time here, this is our weekly show all about GarageBand, where we talk about the news, the tips, the ways to create, record, and release your best music using GarageBand, the platform that we all know and love. If you don't know and love GarageBand, stick around because we love those who are, as we say, GarageBand curious. So if you're just getting into GarageBand, there's plenty of folks here that have a lot of experience that are going to be able to help you out. Don't also forget, my English is fabulous today. Also, remember that if you are new to GarageBand, you can check out my GarageBand Beginner's Guide. All you need to do is go over to studiolivetoday.com/courses, and you can check that one out. It's just $10 dues, and it's 5 hours of hand-picked GarageBand tutorials and content, all fully transcribed, all fully searchable, and there's even a way to direct message me right from within the course. So jump over to studiolivetoday.com/courses if you are into GarageBand. Hello to the folks who are here live. We will chat to you as we go through. And remember, if you do have a question here today, just throw the word question in the chat, and I will definitely circle back to any of those that happen throughout the show. Let's jump into the news, shall we? And there really isn't any news this week, so I wanted to talk about and ask you the question. Question of the week today is, what's next for Apple? So GarageBand, we have GarageBand on our iPhones, we have it on our iPads, we have it on our Macs, we also have Logic on Mac. What are Apple doing next in terms of creativity? So the long rumor has been that Logic is going to come to the iPad, and we got the new M1 iPads that came out, and everyone was all super happy that maybe now finally we'll get some pro apps on the iPad. That didn't happen. iOS 15 came and went, or was released or announced. No pro apps. We also thought maybe there'll be a pro app bundle that we could get on our iOS devices. That didn't happen. So where are we? What is happening? We're kind of floating at the moment, and it's this little sort of wasteland, this summer wasteland, I guess, even though it's like 10 degrees here because it's the middle of winter. But for many of you, it is summer, and we're just not hearing anything. So all the leakers and all the people speculating about all the things have just kind of gone and hidden under a rock and don't have anything going on. So yeah, I wonder what is actually happening. And if you have any thoughts, where do you think, what are we getting? Are we going to get, is it going to be the new M1 chip? Are we going to finally get MacBook Pros and Mac Minis and Mac Pros that have more than 16 gigabytes of RAM so we can really start putting them to the test? Could there possibly be a new iDevice before the iPhone 13 sort of rears its head later in the year? I don't know. I think Apple have done so much in the first half of 2021 that there's really nothing left to do. But that's my 2 cents. What do you think? That is thing one. Thing two is that Ron Ward continues to do a fantastic job. If you didn't catch the latest episode of GarageBand Users Live, GBU Live, you totally should. And he does the show twice a week now. It's see, I'm not prepared here. I don't actually have it set up here. Look, this is great SEO. Ron's got it going on. All you need to do is type GBU Live into your YouTube search engine, and there you go. You can check out all of the latest shows. Here it is. Here's the 4th edition of GBU Live, all GarageBand all the time. I got my reminder on. There it is. Do go ahead and bookmark this one. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to help you out. I'm going to throw this in the chat here so that you too can enjoy the goodness that is Ron Ward and GBU Live. But if you haven't caught GBU Live before, it is this dude. It is Ron Ward. He's the one from 5 days ago, from last week. It was a very cool show, and he's really got the production down pat. Like, look at that. He's got cool transitions and intros and everything going on. I could learn a thing or two from Mr. Ron Ward, and there he is. There's the man with the plan. He's got his spreadsheet going on. He's got all the good music, and he plays it all every week over on GBU Live. So there you go. The thing three that I wanted to talk about today is Songtember. So Songtember is just around the corner. We are at the end of July, and then we have August, and then we have Songtember. So to prepare for Songtember, I'm going to get back into some songwriting and some creating and some musical goodness. And I've made an executive decision because you'd be aware that last year I did a series where I looked at Audio Pro, Cubasis, and GarageBand iOS, and I compared the features and I looked at all the different, the three major mobile DAWs for creators that are going to create music. And then I dabbled into GarageBand Mac, and then I've circled back around and I've been on GarageBand iOS primarily for the last sort of few months. I've had a lot of people asking me about both GarageBand Mac and Logic Pro, and it is time. So I have decided I'm going to put a stake in the ground, and August is going to be my month to learn GarageBand on Mac. So I will be diving into Patrick over at the GarageBand Guide to Dean Davis at the Songwriting Studio. I'll be checking out all the GarageBand tutorials I can. I'll be teaching myself, and I'll be documenting the journey. So if you too have been curious about GarageBand on a Mac, maybe you don't even own a Mac, maybe you were like I was a year ago, you're using a PC and you're like, is it worth me getting a Mac? Like, is it worth me checking out GarageBand? Is it worth me checking out Logic Pro? That is what I'm going to be exploring in August. And then at the end of August, we're going to make the decision of what platform do I use for Songtember. And I'll probably put it to a vote. I've done this before where I put it to a vote. Do I struggle through with Cubasis because I'm still not very good at it? Do I go back to GarageBand iOS? Do I go GarageBand Mac? Or what I'm thinking is, do I do a hybrid approach? Do I go out with my phone and do my creating on my phone, come back to the studio, put it on the iPad, then send it from the iPad over to the Mac and play around with it, maybe send it back to Cubasis to master. Maybe we use everything. So maybe we use a bunch of different GarageBands, and then eventually maybe we finally, I don't know, do we put it into Logic just to look at it and go, pretty? I don't know, maybe. So there you go. That's your In the News. You're now caught up, and we'll go on to our next couple of sections. Is it me or is Pete a little out of focus? Yeah, I think I am out of focus. So bear with a moment, because I noticed this yesterday. I was chatting to someone, and I'm like, why do I look fuzzy? So here we'll go into our settings. We'll turn autofocus off, and we'll turn it back on, and then we'll do this, and then we'll do that. And has that fixed me? If not, I will turn off the autofocus, and I'll just go with that. Yeah, all of the above might be best. Yeah, I think so. I think we'll use everything. Hello, Jimmy Townsend. I've used GarageBand on the Mac. It's great, but the touch screens are the bomb. That's what I find, to be honest. And we'll have a look in a moment, because I'm going to do some experimentation here today to kick off. Like, we're not in August yet, but I'm going to play around and do some experimentation and try out some GarageBand Mac stuff. So we'll see how we go. How about some more Michelle Crumpets? Not related. I don't know who that is. Sorry, Michael, and I don't know who Michelle Crumpets is. There you go. Joe Glenn says, got caught up doing a video for a latest song. That's okay. Thanks for dropping by. Who else is here? We've got Guzzo of Oz, SM Borthwick. Hello to you. Mark, we've said g'day to Lona Stoner, Night Train 1988. Surya Sawan, thank you for being here. Joe Glenn is in the house. Jimmy Townsend's here. And a bunch of other folks. The Metalhead Hippie. Boom. Hello, Hippie. Hope you're doing well. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I hope you're doing good. Prodsnecky says, I used to make beats on my iPhone. It was really good. Then I moved to PC and got FL Studio. Yeah, is FL Studio worth me checking out? For those that have used it in the chat, I know Thomas Christ used to use it. I know others have used FL Studio. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it would be right for my sort of workflow and the sort of music I create. But if you think I should, let me know. I'm also well overdue to check out BandLab. That's something that a lot of folks have told me that I need to check out, but I haven't done so just yet. All right, let's move in to our feature topic this week, which is all about the crashes, all about when your GarageBand crashes. So what I need to do first is we're gonna cross our fingers and our toes here, and hope that I can get my iPad up. Now, I made a boo boo. I didn't have my iPad on charge last night, but I did have it plugged into my audio interface, but I didn't have any power going through it. So it's now at 19%. And when I share it here and I plug it back in, it is going to start draining power pretty quickly, because I don't have a powered hub. This is why you always have a powered hub. I was doing some experimenting recently to see, can you just plug a USB-C interface into a iPad, like an iPad Pro, without going through a powered hub? The answer is yes. but you drain your battery like a mofo, just quietly. All right, let's plug this one in, and we'll bring it up over here on our screen. There it is, and we'll wait for it to... Oh, this is the sound we get, by the way. I talked about this last time. We get this weird sound when we connect up our iPad. Oh, there it goes. It's gone away. It's there when I'm airplaying. There's something wrong with the AirPlay that's going on here in Reflector at the moment, that it's doing this weird sound. But here we go. We've got our iPad, and let's turn the volume up. There you go. For those that love a finished scale, I didn't hit the B. So GarageBand will crash. It's just a matter of when it crashes. And there's a few different ways that it crashes. It's hard to actually make it crash. So what we're going to do is pretend that it's not working. So we're going to close out of it, flick up, and get rid of it. So let's say that we tap on GarageBand like this, and it doesn't load. You just get that blank screen with a little spinny thing, and it never opens your project. Well, this is usually due to the fact that there's a corrupt project in there that it's trying to open, but it's not actually able to. And unfortunately, GarageBand is designed that every time you open it, it will go back into your last project you had open. Now, a simple thing you can do to help with this sort of maintenance is whenever you close GarageBand, and this is a good habit to get into anyway, always do it from this screen. So instead of closing it, instead of being in your song and just going, oh, all right, I'm done with GarageBand now, I'm going to go over and jump over and play some sensual sax, what you want to do is whenever you're using GarageBand here and you've finished your project, just close out. Just hit this button in the top left. That will close the project. It'll take you back to your opening screen. And then when you reopen, GarageBand will just reopen it. Let's try this now. If we close this and we reopen GarageBand again, it's going to come back to this screen. It doesn't have to try to open another project. And that can cause a lot of less angst because you're not going to get that crashing issue. Let's say you didn't take that advice and you are still struggling with this and you're getting that crash. Well, there's a couple of things you can do. Number one thing is to close and reopen. So we've already showed that here on the iPad. You swipe up from the bottom. So swipe up and then you flick up to flick it away. If you're using a device that has a button, double tap on the button, flick it away, and close everything. So let's just say that, I had GarageBand open here. I was watching some Netflix. I was had my music app open, and I've got all these things. One of the best tips for fixing any bug or any problem here in GarageBand is to swipe up and close everything down, because you got stuff that's going to do background processes that are going to be trying to use your audio. They're going to be causing problems. So that's tip number 2. Tip number 1 is make sure that you close out of your project before you close GarageBand. Tip number 2 is close any of your other apps. Tip number 3, and I'm not going to be able to do this because I'm sharing my screen here, is to turn it off and turn it back on. Yes, it's the universal fix. It's called the universal fix for a reason, because it fixes a lot of problems. A lot of the time when you're having problems with the GarageBand, turn it off and turn it back on. I wonder, can I press the button? I'm not going to attempt it. You know what it's like. You hold down your button. It's a side button on some devices. Oh, here we go. I can do it. I'll do it on this phone because I'm not actually streaming the screen of this phone. So if we grab this phone and we tap and hold on, well, no, sorry, that's the Siri button. What we need to do is tap and hold on the 2 top buttons on an iPhone 12. The 2 top buttons, we hold those 2 down. We get this screen, and then to power off, you simply slide that over there. That is now off. I usually recommend, just because I'm a creature of habit, and you used to leave things for about 30 seconds to a minute, usually because they were hot and they had fans and you wanted to make sure that they weren't causing any problems, and then you turn it back on. So we'll turn this one back on, and you'll get your little Apple logo if you hold down on that power button. There you go. Apples. So that is tip number 3, I think. Is that 3 or 4? I've lost track. But that's another tip that you can use. Excuse me. Very sorry about that. So they are the primary tips. Now, if all else fails, none of that works, and you're like, Pete, I still can't get into my GarageBand. It's coming up. It's got the little spinning wheel. I hit the button here and it just won't open. Well, there's one more thing you can do. You can actually reset your GarageBand. So if you come out to here, it's not within GarageBand, and it's not there for a reason. It's not there so that in this exact case where GarageBand's not loading, you need to come in here to your settings. You need to scroll down on the left-hand side here until you get to, not surprisingly, GarageBand, and then tap on that one. And over here on the right, if we scroll down to the bottom, we have this one, Reset GarageBand. Tap on that and then close out of this. And when you reopen GarageBand with that setting, it will reset it. Now, you won't lose your songs. You won't lose your songs in iCloud. You won't lose your songs even on the device, but you will lose some of your custom settings. So you'll use like your knob gesture settings, you lose your keyboard labels, you'll lose things like 24-bit audio. So you will have to go back into your advanced settings and just tweak a few things, but it will enable you. What it basically does is it resets GarageBand. It'll open up with that welcome screen that says, welcome to GarageBand, you're all good to go. So that is the final tip that I have there for you with GarageBand, but just some general maintenance stuff of things that might actually help you out. If you're finding that your GarageBand is crashing, look, I've got a conflict now because I'm opening the same thing on my phone as well as my iPad. If you're finding that your GarageBand is just crashing, follow the same things. So close all your apps, turn it off and on, turn it back on, try it again. The other common error that you're going to get here in GarageBand is that your plugins and EQs are going to disappear. So you'll come in here and you'll go to audio unit extensions and none of these will be here. Sometimes you'll just have these ones. Sometimes you'll have nothing at all. So if you get that problem, once again, two things. Make sure that you close out all your things and then close back in and then turn off and back on. And the other thing to consider is sometimes some versions of iOS and iPadOS had this problem more than others. The latest version, which I think is 14.7 at the time of this video, or whatever your latest version is, and GarageBand 2.3.11 are the ones that you want to make sure you have. So just make sure that you go into your app store, that you've updated to the latest version of GarageBand, and that you have the latest version of iOS or iPadOS. R times 2 says, will you lose the sound packs after resetting? I don't believe so. You know what? Should we just try it? Shall I take one for the team? I'm not in the middle of a project at the moment, so let's just take one for the team, shall we? Let's just show you how this works with resetting. So we're going to tap on the settings, we're going to scroll on down, and we're going to go to GarageBand. See, this is how much I love you. I'm going to take this one for the team. And we're going to hit reset GarageBand. We'll then come back up here and we'll hit the GarageBand button, and it's going to go, welcome to GarageBand. There you go. You can play, you can record, you can share. We'll continue here. Yes, you have a sound library. So here we are. If we go back into our guitar example song, do we have all of our sound library? No. Do we not? Do I have to re-download everything? Yeah. So they say new, but do I have them? Oh no, they're downloaded. Ah, cool. So there you go. We found out something new. So they all say new, but that's just because GarageBand resets what it thinks. That's right. I remember this from last time. So all you need to do if you're annoyed by those notifications is painstakingly tap on and off of each one of these new ones. Otherwise, that little new number thing will be there forever. I'll do this later. You don't need to watch me do that. But some of the settings that we'll need to change here, if we go back, is up here in your advanced settings. So you want to make sure you come back in here, you turn back on 24-bit audio resolution, turn back on running background mode if you want that on there, and you may want your use with music apps and your MIDI clock on there, or turn on the monitoring. So yeah, there's some of the things that you'll want to then change. And let's just check, since we're being thorough here now, let's just check our settings and see, yeah, so keyboard note labels has gone off as well. So that's another one that we'll need to add back in. And if you like using automatic recording length, you'll need to change that back there as well. So there you go. That will fix everything. But as you'll note here, we haven't lost a single project, whether it be on our iCloud drive, our GarageBand folder is still going to stay there, and even on my iPad, our GarageBand for iOS folder with all of our stuff, even though I don't hold anything there anymore, is still there and good to go. So hopefully that helps you out. It's one of those things that if you don't need to use it, then that's a good thing. But you inevitably at some stage will come across something where you'll need to use it. Joe Glenn says, I quite often lose the mic. Switching off and on fixes that every time. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. Yeah, you've jinxed yourself now, Joe. Next time you try it, it won't work. But yeah. And the same with audio interfaces or USB mics. Sometimes unplugging and plugging back in can definitely work well for you. Infarction says, since I got my iPad Air 4 2020, I can't work out how to turn it off. It's different from my iPhone 8. So usually it's, and look, it's weird. So with the iPad Pros, I think it's the two buttons. I think it's basically the volume up and the power button, and you have to hold those both at the same time. So if you have any of your devices that don't have a home button and you want to turn things off, it is holding down the main button. It's not a power button. What do they call that? The switch button, the on-off button. That's not, and the top button. So tap, hold on both of those, and you'll get that screen there, and you'll be good to go. You can turn it off and then turn it back on using just that button. Holding down just that one should turn it back on. I know, who would have thought that we're at the point where it's actually harder to turn on and off our devices than it used to be? right? Weird. Very weird. All right, let's move on because that was all. That was useful information, but it was all a little bit, it was all a little bit mundane and run of the mill. So instead, we're gonna close out, and before I tempt fate, we're actually going to remove the iPad, and I'm going to go into uncharted territory here, or not so much uncharted as territory that I don't spend a lot of time in. And do I need no. Sorry, GarageBand is asking me some weird questions here now. Why won't it come up? Come on, GarageBand, we want you. There you are. All right. So we are here in GarageBand, which is, and there you go. Yes, the top two corner buttons on the iPad Pro. Yeah, exactly. The top button and the volume up button are the iPad Pro ones. So we're here in GarageBand, and before we get started with anything here in GarageBand, I wanted to have a quick rant. This is our rant of the week because I get asked this question a lot, and that is, as you may be aware, in GarageBand iOS, there is a merge function, which is a great tool. You can merge any number of tracks, 1 track, 2 tracks, the whole 32 tracks, down to a stereo file. You hit one button and it merges the track, it backs up the project, and it merges it down. So what you could do is say I've got this drum kit and I wanted to merge all these separate drum sounds into one. I could just select them all, and I could come here and go select, hit merge, and it merges them all down. GarageBand on Mac doesn't have that feature. For whatever reason, they decided that they would not put that. Of all of the different options that we have here in GarageBand Mac, and we have a heap, we don't have a merge function. Now, if I say this and you say, Pete, there is actually one, then great. And guess what? I'll make a tutorial tomorrow. But in my experience and from people I've spoken to, we don't have it. So if you want to merge in GarageBand, let's just say, so we'll go with these guitars, because this is my song murdering time. And if we play this section down here, let's just make sure there it is. So there's our guitar sounds. Now on iOS, if I was running out of tracks or I wanted to merge these into a stereo file, all I'd need to do is merge them. I'd tap over here and I'd hit a merge button. We don't have that option here. So how do we do it in a Mac? Well, I've never done this before, but I'm going to try it right now. I've told people, because this should work in theory, but I haven't actually done it. So what we will need to do is actually export this track and then re-import it. Now, this is going to be interesting because I haven't exported the track in GarageBand Mac for a long time. So you're going to watch me stumble over this one, but I think it's under our mix menu, is it? No, it's not. Share. There we go. It must be share. Export song to disk. Is that right? Yeah, maybe. All right, let's try. It's the blind leading the blind, isn't it? So we're going to export this song to disk. There we go. So this is what we're going to do. So it's murdering time there. We're just going to throw it here in whatever drive it's going to put it into. So we want uncompressed 24-bit file, and we're going to put this as murdering guitars, because that's what I like to do. I like to murder guitars. Export cycle area or length of the region. So no, I think we just want to leave it all as is, and it's going to export it to the murdering time folder, which is somewhere. Hopefully we can find this to re-import it. So let's hit export. It has to do its thing like that. And Thomas Christ has confirmed as we do this that yes, there is no merge in GarageBand Mac. Bugger. So we'll see what happens. So there we go. So that's exported. Now what we need to do is actually import it back into our project. Import that stereo file back in. So this is going to be interesting because I've never done this before. But so how do we import a track here into GarageBand? Someone's going to have to help me here. Let's create a new track, and we want it to be a audio track. Doesn't really matter about the input, but we'll create it. There it is. So how do we now? There we go. We've right-clicked on it, and we're going to go add audio file. Cool. So now we're here in our GarageBand folder. If we go to our recent over here, we should be able to go to. No, it hasn't. It hasn't got. See, this is where I don't know where I saved it. Oh no, surely I've created it. Here's GarageBand on iCloud. No, it's not there. See, this is the problem that I'm going to have. I would have thought that it would just put it in my recent because I've just exported it, but it doesn't seem to be any one of these. So I'm going to have to work out where I've actually exported it to. All right, so iCloud here. Surely I've just got a GarageBand, not iOS, but surely there's a GarageBand folder that I have that just goes in. Is it under Studio Live Today, maybe? No? All right. We're going to have to go back to the export and find this out. See, isn't fun? Isn't this going to be a fun time learning GarageBand Mac? Really? All right, so share. Let's just see where I was actually sharing this to when I was exporting it, because now we need to find it. Oh, I had a beach ball. Did you see the beach ball? That was exciting. So It is just going into Studio Live today, is it? I think that's what it's telling me. My knowledge of Mac file systems is nil. All right, let's instead go to our Finder, because what we should, Macs are good for finding things by just searching, yeah? So can't I just go murdering guitar and won't it tell me where it is? No? Oh, wait, it's searching in recent. How do we search everywhere? There? You're like, there. Oh, is this what I signed up for here, Pete? Murdering guitar. There's murdering time. There's murdering guitars. All right. I've got some work to do. So I don't know where it is, but it's there. It's in my search. Can I just drag this into this folder, into this spot? I can. All right. So we'll drag that into there, and we'll put it in this new audio track that we created. We'll release. And has that lined it up properly? I don't know if it has. Let's bring it back. We'll just solo this one. GarageBand Mac users are laughing at me in the comments right now. So let's see. It hasn't. You know why? I think that I set something that told it to come in a little bit later here. So I think it's actually brought it in from this bar 3, which is where these tracks actually started from, where this first guitar track. So I would say it's probably lined it up to be where this first guitar is when I've exported it. But has it done it exactly? Let's find out. No, not at all. How funny. So there's some work here to be done. I think I've proven my point that having a merge function in GarageBand Mac would be so gosh darn valuable, because I've just struggled through that and you've had to watch it, so I apologize for that, to try and export it, try and work out where I put it, try and re-import it, and then what it seems to have done is it's cut off the silence at the start, which is not what you want when you export. Let's just, can we undo? We'll undo that. We'll undo that. So when I exported that, someone's going to be able to correct me here, but is there a way to say just, is it this one here? Export cycle area or length of selected region if cycle is turned off. But I didn't want that. I wanted the whole thing. I wanted it to export the whole thing, including any blank space. But what it seems to have done is just done it from that point, which is not great because that's just an arbitrary point. It's not even right on a marker, which is why it didn't line back up. Okay, so if you want to merge, if you want to do those sort of exporting things, we got some work to do. And that's my challenge to you is there a better way to do this? GarageBand Mac people, where are you at? Patrick, if you're watching on the replay and you're laughing, once you've spat out your cup of tea, laughing at me, let me know. What is the best way? If I wanted to do that, if I legitimately say I had some background vocals and I had 8 tracks and I wanted to merge them down to one stereo track, how do I do that in GarageBand Mac? What's the quickest, easiest way? Is there a plugin maybe that I'm missing here? Is there a quicker way than exporting and bringing back in? And how the heck do we get it to line back up? I don't know the answer. We'll see how we go. Nitro1988 says, wow, I use merge a lot to clean up using all 32 tracks to free up, especially on vocals. Exactly. And these are the things that I need to get my head around before I start using GarageBand Mac, and especially into Logic. Does Logic not have merge either? Probably not, if it doesn't have it here. Incidentally, there is in Logic, but it's called bounce in place. There you go. Bounce in place. I love it. It's called bounce in place. I will get to your other comments, but we'll have a look here. Doug has a question here. Is it possible to import your own sounds into the beat sequencer? No. Short answer is no. You can create your own drum kit, sort of, using the sampler. So you can import sounds into the sampler and then line up the sampler. Use the sampler or multiple sampler tracks to create your own beats using your own kit pieces. But unfortunately, and sadly, because it would be cool, the beat sequencer doesn't have the ability to import your own stuff. Boom. Hello, hippie. I hope you are well. Who have I missed? We'll scroll down here because I was raving and ranting about GarageBand Mac for quite a long time. There you go. You can also drag it if it's in your... There you go, Kim. I should have read that when I was trying it out. So yes, I found it eventually using Mac's search features, but bug it if I knew where it saved it to. It saved it to documents, did I, Mac? It's a drag. Get it? It's a drag and drop. There you go. Hello, David John Lees. Hello, Clayton Von Kluge. Hope you are doing well, my friends. SM Borthwick says, yeah, I have to say this reminds me of my brief experience of GarageBand on Mac. It's quickly felt less intuitive than iOS. And look, I'll get used to it. this is the thing. I'll get used to it. And exactly, the zoom, zoom in for precise placement. Yeah, so this is the thing. I was honestly trying to remember how to zoom as I was doing this because I'm not using a trackpad. I'm assuming you can use pinch and whatever, but my mouse doesn't have pinching and expanding. So I couldn't quickly find the zoom. Is it under No, that's the Windows zoom. View, view, zoom. No. So I thought there was a slider. I thought there was like a zoom slider here somewhere that would zoom in and out. That's your volume, isn't it? Yeah, that's volume. That's not going to help you. So yeah, these are the things that we need to come across. And I make no bones about the fact that I don't know how to do this, and it will be frustrating for those that watch. Warning to patrons, I'll probably be doing a Patreon live stream first, where I go through how to learn this, and I try to sort of stumble my way through it. But I'll get there. That's the thing. When you're trying anything new, it just takes you a while. And hopefully, because I know GarageBand on iOS so well now, because I've been using it so long, I think some people say, oh, it's easy enough for you. You know everything about GarageBand. But guess what? Now you get to be on the other side of the fence. You get to be there saying, oh, I can't believe I know much more than Pete does about that. Yes, and you probably do. I think if you highlight with the loop, then export, it will keep the style. Yeah, so I think that's what I need to do. I think I need to set the entry point and out point, which again, I don't remember how to do, so that it actually, because I think you can do, I think you're right, Thomas. I think you can put, is it this thing here that you can put? And no, it's not that. I don't know. See, this is what it is. I'll be learning all this stuff. But yeah, you can definitely do it. You could do that. So before I make a tutorial, I need to work out how it's going to work for me. Epiphonium, I'm bouncing in place right now, so I'm getting a kick out of it. Boom, 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 boom. It's a slider on the top right. Slider on the top right. Oh, this one. This little tiny. Oh, thanks, Kim. There you go. Oh man, this is going to be fun. So yeah, let's just quickly redo that and see if I could line it up. So if we went a new track, new audio track, and we wanted to, we'll bring it up here. I'm just intrigued now, more out of morbid curiosity as to whether this could work. And then where's our finder? Yep, and we brought it in here, and we put it in. Oh no, it doesn't like it. No. Oh, beach ball. It's saying no, Johns. All right, so we put it there. If we zoomed in, which we now know how to do. There we go. So now, if we did that, is that going to put it back where it needs to be? Let's find out, shall we? Let's see if it works. No, it's still slightly off. It's put, for whatever reason, it's put a little bit of silence in the front there. And I don't know why, but I'd probably have to, line up the waveform like that? Is that going to be what it needs to do? No? Let's see. It's close. Oh yeah, I need to work out a better way to do that. All right, I'll not make you watch me do all that. Yeah, there you go. Small slider at the top. All I want to do is zoom, 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 even though I don't know who you are. Yeah. So to avoid all this, we should save early and save often. I know I don't do it either. Yeah. Do. That's some good advice right there. Save early and save often. It's the loop. It's this thing up the top here. Is it? That bit there? There you go. Okay. So that's what we'd use. You can't see that. It's this one up here. All right. Should we get back to something else? I shudder to think what I've got next on the schedule here because I think it's going to be something else that I need to do. Yes. Now, have I undone all that? I think so. I think I've undone all that. So I'm going to now experiment with something that I'm going to need to be able to use when I start doing this. So let's zoom right back out. Let's make sure that we've not messed up this track and make sure that it's actually working. So hit play. Okay, everything seems fine. Let's just come down here. So I get this question all the time, and that is, can you export from GarageBand on Mac and import into GarageBand on iOS? The short answer is no. The longer answer is sort of. So I'm going to attempt to do this right here, right now, and show you what can and can't be done. So we've got our track here in GarageBand on the Mac. It's my song called Murdering Time, and we're going to share this so we can share it out here. Now you'll notice that there's two options up the top here. There is export the song to disk, which will save it out as a WAV file, just like that. So that's cool, but that's not really going to work for us in terms of using the project on iOS. But you'll also notice that there's another option here, which is share project to GarageBand for iOS. So that is what we're going to do here. So we're going to click on that one, and it says this project was previously shared to GarageBand iOS. Do you want to share it again? Yes, I do. Thank you, GarageBand, for asking. Now, we need to put it somewhere where we can easily access it on our iPad. So I'm going to go into my iCloud Drive, and I'm going to put it into my Studio Live Today folder here. There it is, and we've already got a Murdering Time folder here, so maybe we'll put it in there. There it is, and what we'll call it is Murdering Time iOS, just so that we know that this is the version we're saving out for iOS, yeah? All right, so we're here, we know where we've saved it, we're going to hit the save button, and it's going to do its thing. It's going to bounce it. We're going to bounce in place. And while that bounces, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my iPad over here, and I'm going to share this screen over to my Mac so that you can see what's going on as we do this. So that is done now. That should be saved out to our iCloud Drive. That should be saved out to our iCloud Drive. And now, when I get this stuff sorted and that weird sound, we're going to be good to go. We just need to unplug here. This is what I'm talking about. This is what we get. This is the beauty of live. We'll plug back in. We'll hope that that horrid sound has gone away, and we'll be back in a moment. So I should have had this pre-done. Thank you. Thank you for choosing Studio Live today. We know you have a choice of GarageBand related shows, and we're glad you chose GarageBand Weekly. All right. So I think we're good to go. So we're here in our iPad, and what we can now do is we'll grab our iPad mouse and we'll go to that same location here on the iPad. So iCloud Drive, we're going to go to Studio Live Today, Murdering Time, and we should be able to find this one. There it is. You can see it hasn't even downloaded it yet because it's freshly into iCloud, but now we're actually going to bring it on down here into iOS. So we're going to tap on this one. It's going to download, and it's probably, oh, there you go. I was going to say it's going to take a while. There it is. Right, so what is the problem here? Do you see a problem? Yeah, I do too. It's one stereo file. So if we come in here, we can play it back and it's going to sound fine. Only time is behind me. So it's all good, yeah, but how is this helping us? Because it's only a stereo file, and that's not something that we can do. However, there's something pretty cool here, and that is that if we wanted to add some more tracks, we actually can. We can add the tracks right here in iOS, and then when we save it out and it goes back to GarageBand on Mac, they'll magically be there. It's pretty cool. Let's just play around here and add a couple of sounds, shall we? So what can we put in here that's going to work? We'll just add some strings. I don't think we had any strings here in this song, so let's find the start of this song, and we'll record in some strings, shall we? We'll record in a couple of little parts. So we'll hit record. Lovely 6/8 time there, and I'll make sure this is going to work. There you go. So we've brought this over into iOS, and now you're thinking, well, that's great, Pete, but now you're building on top of a track that's just a stereo track. How is this going to be any better? Patience, my friend, patience. So what we can now do, let's add another track here, and why don't we just add some sort of percussion. So we'll just grab our drum here, and we'll go more sounds, and we'll go to our, we don't want to go, main categories, percussion, and we'll go to the coffee shop. So let's just say we want to put a shaker in here, shall we? Just for fun. So hit record. And added in some wood blocks there at the end just for good measure. So we've got this, it's starting to build up this track. So the use case here is that you've created something on Mac, you want to throw it over to your iPhone or your iPad to add some more parts, and then bring it back to your Mac to continue mixing. But how good is that going to be when it's just this stereo file here and then these two additional instruments? Well, let's take a look at exactly what happens. So cross your fingers and your toes, people, because now we're going to save out of this one. So we're going to hit the button in the top left. That saved it out. And there it is. It's going to upload. We'll just make sure it re-uploads to iCloud. So this little cloud icon here tells me that it's uploading back to the cloud, which it's going to do in just a moment. Come on, murdering time. You can do it. So it's uploading. It's done. There you go. There is our project. It's good to go. And now what can we do? Well, let's come over. Let's come back over here to our Mac and see what we can do here. So what has happened with this? Yeah, nothing. Nothing yet, because we haven't reopened that project. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to go Close. So we're closing out of this file. Do I want to save changes murdering time 6? Sure. I don't remember what I actually changed, but that's all good. Now we want to open a new project. So we're going to come into Open Existing Project, and we're going to go navigate to that place. So we're here, iCloud Drive, Studio Live today, just to show you we're going to the same place. And Murdering Time iOS, this is the project that we've just saved right here, right now, 7:06 a.m. Yes, I do this show early for you. And we're going to open this one, right? Tap it, click it, open, and let's see what happens. Murdering Time. So it's going to ask us to save it back as a Mac project now. So we'll do that. We'll save it as Murdering Time iOS 1. And here it comes. And it hasn't worked at all. Good stuff right there. So what is supposed to happen, what happened last time I did this and what happened in testing, is it retained all of the original project stuff there, and then it also added these bits on top. Why it didn't do it this time, I don't know. So I'm going to have to go back and check myself before I wreck myself and try that again. Because last time, when we got to this point, it actually brought those tracks on top of the original track. So you got to retain everything. Now, it's all still there, but guess what? It's not really going to be useful. So yeah, if anyone saw what I did wrong, anyone that is into the GarageBand Mac to iOS conversion world, let me know what I did wrong there, because it worked last time. This has been a great show, hasn't it? Watching Pete fail. I'm going to change the name. Well, it was called Crashes. So I did give you a bit of a hint in the title that there was going to be some weird stuff. Mark's got a tip. Just open the original GB Mac project now. Okay, so has it saved it into there? Let's find out. So if we go back, good tip, Mark. Thank you. We'll try this one. We'll close it out. We won't save it because it's done nothing there. All right, so if we go to our recent projects and we open this one, what's happened here? Okay. So look at this. Look at this. So when I opened that project in GarageBand Mac, it's given me this prompt, which says, new tracks have been added to this project by GarageBand iOS. Do you want to import the new tracks? I do. Import successful. Changes were made. And there we go. It has put our strings and our coffee shop percussion right here in our GarageBand Mac project. Whew, Mark to the rescue. So there you go. Yeah, check out the big brain on Mark. Exactly. Very good stuff. So yes, it is possible. But that is a good thing to keep in mind. So I was going to use that as the tutorial. Clearly that's not going to be it. So I will shoot a separate tutorial that shows this step by step, because here's the steps you need to take. Your original Mac project, you need to export as an iOS project. You then make your changes in the iOS project and close that. You then come back to the Mac. Don't do anything to that iOS project, but reopen the Mac project. It will detect that it's been exported to iOS. As long as you export it on iCloud Drive, it will identify any new tracks and it will import those back over into GarageBand Mac. I think I knew that, but it took Mark, it took the community here to help us get it done. So there you go. Thanks for bearing with me. This was always going to be fun. It's always going to be experimental here today. Lotus Stoner says, Pete, is there any way to update the second iPad gen, as I have that and used to play GarageBand, but does that need updating, can it? If you're talking about the iPad 2, not really. The iPad 2 will have stopped at iOS version 9. So if you have a really old version of GarageBand, like GarageBand 2.1 on iOS 9, you can still use it. If you don't have it, you can't download it now, and you won't be able to update it at all. So I've got an old iPad 4 with a really cracked screen, and I don't know if it even powers up anymore. But it would be fun to just play around with that, yeah. So I might have to get that one out and have a bit of a play with it. Rob B, it's my birthday on Thursday in case you want to give me a shout. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to everybody who's having a birthday, but to Rob B in particular, happy birthday. 21, Rob? Yep, I reckon so. Good stuff. All right, I deserve coffee after that haul. All right. Sion says, tip, if you insert a MIDI file with a different time signature into a blank GarageBand project, that time signature appears in GarageBand only for that project. There you go. I like it. Yeah, very cool. So would that, yeah, okay. That's interesting. I'll take that on notice. Time signature into a blank project. Yeah. Yeah, interesting. The Metalhead Hippie, what is your favorite iPad caster setup, mic, etc.? Podcaster setup, mic, etc. So, what would be or is your favorite? So for me, I'm a very simple guy, so I like simple things, which is why I use a mixer. So I've got a Zoom, so my Zoom LiveTrack L8 is the mixer I use right here for everything. In fact, the reason I love this, I've actually got a Focusrite Scarlett 2R2 and my Zoom LiveTrack plugged into my Mac. And that's why it makes it super easy. If I go here to GarageBand and I go to the settings, where are they? Under the Apple menu? Where are the settings? GarageBand preferences. So if I go to my audio preferences here, what you'll notice is that the output is coming through the Zoom mixer. So that makes it really easy because that just comes out of the stereo output on the mixer. So I can mix that into my live streams. The input, however, is my Scarlett 2i2. So if I need to record as we did here today, and if I wanted to plug in, like I've got a microphone, if I want to plug in a mic cable, I can record into the Scarlett 2i2, but then the output comes straight through the mixer. Yes, the output could go through to the Scarlett, and then I could route that out in a stereo channel back to the mixer, but why add to it? So my current setup is the Zoom LiveTrack L8 mixer, which I really dig. In fact, I'll show you what it looks like because all of this and more is over at my my Studio Live Today gear guide. So if you go to studiolivetoday.com/gear, which is this little website here, you'll see I've got my studio gear guide. So this is my entire setup. And yeah, I do need to update it because it's not April anymore, it's July. But you can see here that the audio interface that I use, which is the with my iPad, which is the UI22C, my iRig Pro IO, I've got a bunch of different stuff I use. But the current mixer that I use is this one here. The Zoom LiveTrack L8 8-channel mixer has the faders. I love me a good fader, and the reason that this is great for podcasting is it has multiple outputs. So see here at the top here, it's got monitor out, and you can change these to different mixes. So when I'm doing an interview, so if I'm doing this show, my main mix can be the same as my headphone mix because no one's hearing any echo. I don't need to have a mix minus set up. But if I'm talking to someone, I need to make sure that I can hear them, but then I'm not sending their audio back out. Otherwise, they would hear themselves repeated immediately after, and it creates this weird echo. So if you're having echoing problems, it's all to do with mix minus, and you'll need to get something that has multiple outputs. So that way I can do is I can set the master mix to have the person, so to have my Mac in there, and then the my own mix can be mix B, and that will work for me there. So that's my mixer. I find that super good, and especially good now that it actually has a Mac driver, because for the longest time it didn't have a driver for Mac. And if we come back here, if you go to my other recommendations for mixers, I was instead using this one, the Samson Mix Pad, which is also a good, it's obviously less than half the price, also a good mixer, a lot simpler sort of mixer, doesn't have sort of those multiple outputs, and is a little bit clunkier to do like interviews and podcast type stuff with, but still a good unit there. In terms of microphones, I was for the longest time just using my Audio-Technica AT2020, which is the one I have recommended here under Microphone XLR. This one here, I've talked about it a lot. It's a condenser microphone, which means it's going to pick up a lot of detail, and that might not be perfect for podcasting or for broadcasting, but if you set it right, it's good, and it doesn't require any sort of cloud lifter or any sort of gain. It's got a lot of nice gain in there as well. A lot of people use things like the SM7B. I've not used one. I think it might be a little bit of overkill, but the one that I actually use, if we come down here to my microphones, This is the one I'm talking to you through right now. It's the Audio-Technica AE3300, which is this one. And I like it because it is a handheld, but it's a condenser microphone. You can see you can only get it on special order. I got this because I picked it up secondhand at a Cashies. Yeah, good old cash converters for like $100. And I've had this for coming on 5 years now. And it's cool because it's got a pad on there. If you're using it with anything like any harsher instruments that are going to be louder, you can turn it down 10 dB and you can even roll off your bottom end. So it's got a high pass filter built in to the microphone, which just makes it extra handy. So that's my current gear setup, and that's what I use for my podcasting, for my live streaming, for my interviews, and for everything else. So hopefully that gives you some ideas. But yeah, if you are in the market for some gear, then do head on over to studiolivetoday.com/gear and you'll be able to check out all of the recommendations I have. Right. Plug-in or app of the week. I'm going to try something interesting here because it's a day of experimentation, isn't it? So I want to do something that I've never done before, and why not do things live here on the show? This may work. This may be an absolute mess, but we'll find out soon. So let's come here and take a look. Yeah, it really is the best of both. The handheld condenser is the best of both worlds, and this one's actually got really low handling noise, so I'm giving this a good old fondle. And if you've used something, if you've used any other, if you've used a condenser microphone that's like a non-handheld one, and you try and hold it, yeah, you're going to be hearing this, right? You're going to be hearing the sound of this, but I can rub my finger up against it. And there's barely any noise. And when you're moving around and you're singing and into this, and you're using it for that sort of thing, it can work really well. So yeah, the handling noise side of it is an important thing when you're using a performance mic. And even when I'm doing this, I know that if I bump my mic, I'm not going to get like a really loud clong or anything like that. It's going to be quite forgiving of any sort of movement that happens. The worst is that. So it's really just the pop filter that if I touch that I get a bit of noise, but the actual microphone, super duper quiet, which you don't get with a lot of condensers. Oftentimes they're super precise, which means they can be a little bit harsh, but this one does the best of both things. All right, what are we doing here? Well, I've been told by a lot of people, they've said to me, they say to me, Pete, they say, you use GarageBand on your iOS devices and you're trying to learn how to use GarageBand on Mac. Did you know, Pete, that there is an app for that? There is an app called Logic Remote that is on your iOS devices. Now, I'm going to load it up here on my iPad just because it's going to be easier. Oh, we're going to have to do this. We're going to have to do this funky thing again. What are we down to? We're down to, oh, we're already sharing. Oh, that was good, Pete. Well done. I was already sharing. I just didn't realize. We'll plug back in here and I'll be able to show you my iPad, which is over here. There it is. So Logic Remote. I've never used it before, but let's find out how it actually works. And instead of reading any manuals or doing any sort of thing, oh, we've just lost our screen. Instead of reading a manual or doing anything that logical, see what I did there? Like that, I'm just going to go with it and do it on the fly. So we're going to bring my screen back up here. Make sure it's not going to make that horrible noise, which it probably is in the background. We're going to plug back in my audio interface, and then we're going to try this out. Yeah, learning Logic. I know, we're getting there. We're taking baby steps. Yeah, so Guzzo's been planning to use this, and Mark says the app is just great. I'm going to try it. We've lost it again, folks. Well, you know what? I don't think... we will need... Do we bring in the iPhone? This will be interesting. I've not done this in a long time. Do I have Logic Remote on the iPhone? Logic Remote. I do. Okay. We'll try the iPad one more time because it is going to be better on the iPad than the iPhone. Again, experimentation. It's the spice of life, people. It's going to be fun and it's going to be fine. All right, so that's connected. And please just stay connected this time. All right, we'll bring you over here. We'll give you a little shuffle. And maybe we'll go out of that menu just while you connect. Sometimes if you're in GarageBand while you're doing this, it does better because it actually connects the audio properly. No, it says I'm using AirPlay. Am I still using AirPlay? No, we're good. All right, so we have audio, we have video, we have everything ready to go. So you guys might have to hold my hand here because, again, I've never done this before, but let's load up Logic Remote and see what it does. It would like to do things and stuff, and it would like to do things and stuff. Sure, do all those things. Now, now what? Hey, there you go. I was wondering what it would do if I had to do sort of complex network settings. These are both on the same Wi-Fi network, so I was hoping it would just do this. Select the application to control. Pete's Mac Mini. There you go. We're going to connect it. Drum roll, please. This is exciting. I've never used this before. Okay, nothing happened. What's happening? Why won't it do it? Okay. Do you want to use? No, don't use that. All right. So maybe I need to come back out here. Let's have my Mac up. Oh, we'll have GarageBand here. Let's show them both at the same time so I can see what's actually going on here. So for whatever reason, whenever I tap on this, oh, now it's working. Now it's doing something. It's spinning. It wasn't spinning before. It's exciting stuff, isn't it? Here, I'm like people that are discovering something that everyone else has known about for decades. There you go. It's asking me over here. See? So I've hit the connect button here. It's spinning here, and over on this one it said Airhead would like to connect to GarageBand. Let's connect it. Hello. All right. So now it's going to be a bit hard to see both of these on the screen at the same time. So we'll in-smallen that. We'll get that out of the way so that we can see a little bit of both. So there's my iPad that you can see in the bottom corner of the screen. There is my Mac version of GarageBand that you can see there. We'll just move that over there. All right. So how does this work now? So this is going to be interesting. So here is GarageBand. It's not making any noise, or is that? Okay. So it looks like we're on track 24, which equates to this track over here, which is where we're at. Yep, we are. So that's cool. So this is now controlling this track. So if we wanted to sort of record in here, let's just give this a go. So I'm going to go over to the iPad and hit record. I'm hearing it. I'm going to hit stop. And there you go. So you can see I was recording. I wasn't touching the Mac at all. I'm recording over here on my iPad. And then it's actually recording it into this track over here on my Mac. That's pretty darn cool. Now, what else can I do over here? Can I actually view the tracks or anything? It looked like I could when it first came in. So what have we got here? We've got rewind, forward, loop, record, repeat, and delete there under that menu. What does this do? This gives us a bunch of different things. Is this just that I can change the instrument that changes that one? Phasing bells? Will that yeah, okay. So that changes it over there on the Mac. That's cool. So that's our sort of instrument selector there. We've then got our standard controls here, and we've got all of our standard stuff here. This looks, this is where we can put our tracks up and down. So you can see over there on the left on the Mac, it's going through all of our different tracks. And we can go and control all of these. Now, I'm assuming that we can't plug into the audio input in the iPad. It will still use the audio input over here on the Mac. Is that correct? If we're going to record, let's try it, shall we? I've got everything. We got time. We got nothing but time. Wait, we got like 3 minutes. But we're going to try it anyway because I'm too excited today. See, sometimes you got to stick with what you know and stay in your lane. Sometimes you got to try new things. So. Where are we? Well, let's find one of the tracks. So we'll go here to this track, this stereo track. I don't know I think this was a guitar track anyway, but we're going to record onto it with a microphone. So I'm assuming that we'll go to our Scarlett. It's using input number 2. We'll just flick this. Yeah, we'll stick it into input 2, shall we? So I'm going to plug a microphone into input 2 of my Scarlett, like so. And it's a dynamic mic, so we don't need All right, we've got audio coming through. We don't need any, you can see it up there. Hello. All right. So we don't need phantom power, and I'm just going to do some like spoken word over the top of this. So if I'm correct, we need to plug into the Mac, but now if I was say somewhere in another room recording with this microphone, I could hit this record button and then record into the Mac, but using the iPad or the iPhone to trigger it. Yeah? Am I right on this? Let's find out. You know when you're murdering time. The only thing to do is murder more time, right? Hello. I don't know why it keeps asking me now if I want to use a different audio device. It's like, you want to use Black Hole? Yeah. I'm like, no, I've already set my audio settings. What are you doing? All right, so that seems to have worked. So yeah, you plug it into your Mac, and then we're playing here, and let's listen to that. You know when you're murdering time. The only thing to do is murder more time. Right? I just realized I don't think I I don't think I duplicated this track first, so I'm making all of these changes on the actual finished version of Murdering Time. So, gee, I wouldn't want to have to go back and remix or remaster that song, hey, which was something I was planning to do. So there you go. That is super cool, right? Yeah. So can you get a view of all the tracks? Oh, there you go. You can queue it up here. That's kind of cool. Look at that. You can control that. And I'm assuming if I use my finger, I can, oh, there you go. I can move around like that. I can go up and down the tracks, but it would be cool to be able to have like a track view. It doesn't look like you have like a track view here, but you can access all the instruments there. And what settings do we have here? Velocity range here. We've got tempo and time signature, what we're connected to. You can create a new track. Oh, that's cool. So you could basically use this for everything. that'd be a challenge. Use the iPad to set up and to create all the different tracks and do all the settings of everything and then record it to a Mac. That's cool. And allow the iPad to sleep. We've got coaching tips in there. Who knew? Who knew that Logic Remote? I know. And Mark's saying, Pete, I've been telling you for 6 months that Logic Remote is cool. And now you're just like, oh, wow, Logic Remote's cool. Who knew? So, yeah, it is definitely cool. So check it out. I say, Logic Remote. There you go. That's our app of the week. I'll definitely be playing around with that through the week, and that could be fun. I think it's going to be good. I think Songtember is going to be cool, and I think August is going to be extra fun because August we're going to be learning stuff. I'll create some songs, but we'll be using a bunch of different stuff on the Mac and on the iPad and other things. So Mark says swipe the iPad screen to the right. Okay, I'm game. Swipe it to the right. I'm swiping. I'm a swiping. It's not doing much. There's a mixing desk in there somewhere. There is. Which way do I swipe it? I can't seem to get it. I thought when I first put it on. Hey, hang on. Hold the phone, Mavis. Yeah. What about up here? Boom. We got chord strips view. Oh, we got mixer view. Oh, hello. There you go. Now we're talking. So yeah, you got full control over your mixer here, including a master fader, which we don't usually have here in iPad land. Oop, I'm doing stuff. That's cool. Yeah. How good is that? And what else do we have? Key commands. Oh, okay. Stop or play. What the hell? What? Why is this key commands, but it doesn't tell you what the keys are? It's just a whole bunch of buttons. That's a weird one. All right. And smart help. Okay. Perform using automatic keyboard, fretboard, drum pads. Wow, that's cool. Who knew? So there's your smart controls, and yeah, you've got your mixer view there as well. Love and life. Very cool. Yeah, basically, exactly, Adam. The iPad becomes the control surface, which is totally cool. So you could be sitting there and you could just be it'd be great if you were recording, like I suggest, in like another room. Just get yourself a long XLR cable, take your iPhone or your iPad with you, and then just do all your recording over in the other place. And everything's plugged in over on your Mac, but you literally don't have to look at your Mac. You could just be looking at your iPhone or iPad. That's pretty darn cool, in my humble opinion. Alrighty, thank you for hanging with me on this, what was a very experimental version of GarageBand Weekly. If all of that was, you're just like, geez, I'm just getting started with GarageBand, Pete. That's all a bit over my head. Well, guess what? You can actually jump over and check out today's sponsor, which is me. Yes, I'm sponsored by myself today, which is the GarageBand iOS Beginner's Guide. Just $10 and you get 5 hours of hand-picked videos. And if you're asking yourself, Pete, why would I buy this when all of this is free on your channel? Yeah, I could go and find all these videos right here, right now. And yeah, you can. Absolutely. And if you want to do that, no problem. I've got no issue with that whatsoever. But if you want to support the channel, if you want to get the hand-picked stuff that just goes through everything about mixing, mastering, recording, doing everything in GarageBand, then jump over and you'll be supporting the channel too. You'll be keeping the lights on here at Studio Live Today Studios. And if there's someone that you want to get into GarageBand, say you got a friend or a relative, Auntie Mavis has always said, I'd love to make myself a song, then go, happy birthday, Auntie Mavis. I bought you this. I bought you Pete Johns. Creepy. Yeah, so there you go. So it would make a good gift for someone. And again, I've priced it at $10 so that it is fully accessible to everyone. Thank you all for being here today. This has been a heck of a lot of fun. And yeah, like I said, very experimental. Hopefully, if you're having crashing issues with GarageBand, you've learned a few things. Hopefully, if you are on the fence about getting a Mac or maybe trying GarageBand Mac, you've seen that it's not that daunting. there's a few kinks and problems that I had here today, but if I can work through them, so can you. So thank you for that. As we say at the end of every show, be kind to yourself. Very important. Self-care, super important. Be kind to others and keep creating. What's up this week? Well, if you're over on... Oh, thank you, Guzzo. Guzzo has come in here. Look, he wanted me to do the lights on. Sorry, we'll have to be here one more minute because it is folks like Guzzo of Oz up there in, I want to say Queensland, that help keep the lights on. If it wasn't for folks like Guzzo, we would look like this. And that would be sad. Everyone would cry. So... if you want to keep the lights on here at Studio Live today, you can donate to the channel like Guzzo has done, or buy the course, become a patron, watch the channel, hit the like button, share these videos with your family and friends. Whatever you do to support me, I do appreciate you and I do appreciate it. So yeah, so this week I've got a Patreon live show that I'm doing later in the week. So if you are a Patreon, keep an eye on your emails for that one. And then we'll be back next weekend. After I hit the end button here, it'll take you straight to Your Music Live. You can set yourself a reminder for that one. That'll be kicking off at the usual time of Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, and 7 a.m. here Saturday morning for my Australian friends. Thanks for everyone for being here. Why don't we go out? We don't do this often, but the very cool Mark Kronk Song Lovell created this theme song for GarageBand Weekly. So let's go out with a little GarageBand Weekly.
GarageBand Weekly.
Boom! Thank you, hippie. Without folks like the metalhead hippie, we'd look like this.
Need an answer to your question, John, you'll have a suggestion. Seems a fountain of all knowledge. I think he might have gone to GarageBand College. What he doesn't know, we'll try and find out. So join the chat and give him a shout. Hey, John. Hey, John. GarageBand Weekly.
Boom. See you, folks. Bye.